Sup, shooters? My name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SB Interviews, where today, for our 28th installment, we are going to be chatting to an act named Lళzurvy with a man named Wolfgang. If we switch over to here, we have him on the screen. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, my name is Wolfgang, and as you mentioned, this is my project, Lళzurvy.
And what is Lళzurvy? What is it all about?
I'm really into horror and especially creepypasta, internet, no sleep kind of stuff. And that name came from a story about someone who was immortal basically, but was forgotten by the world. So no matter what situation they find themselves into, people basically forget them the moment they leave the room. And I thought it was a cool concept to basically live forever and be an observer. And it just stuck with me, basically.
That's okay. And so did you start out doing this kind of stuff, or like where did you get started with music in general?
Music has been a lifelong journey for me. So I started music as soon as I could sit up and play the piano, basically. I started by playing piano, and as far as genre goes, I've pretty much played in most genres. So it's been quite a journey, to say the least.
Fantastic, yeah, because I can see the setup that you've got there. Do you use all of that stuff in your production, or how do you get around making these tracks?
So it depends what I need to do. So for this, I use a lot of synths, and I also do film composition as well, which requires more orchestral work. So it really depends on the job I'm doing, to be honest with you, as far as how much I use. But yeah, I use the fundamentals, good vocal setup, and Cubase is my DAW. So yeah, I think I have a good grasp of the fundamentals of production, but always room to learn in this business.
No, absolutely. I mean, like I've listened to a few of your songs, like Smile Dog, for instance. Great track, by the way. How do you do those vocals? Because you've got a wide range of different vocal styles here, haven't you?
Yeah, a lot of practice, but the older I've got, the more voices seem to come to me. So it's just a matter of finding a way to make that gritty sound without damaging your voice. I did a bit of training with Melissa Cross, using her instructional videos a while back, which really helped me. She's a really good vocal coach who taught people like Matt Tuck from Bullet for My Valentine and people like that to basically use their voice and get the sound they want without destroying it. You see what I mean?
That's amazing, because like, how do you feel about like getting online tuition and stuff like that versus like an offline in-person tutor?
I think if you can absorb the information, the world is your oyster, really. So sometimes you need to have someone there one-to-one to go through the motions with you. But if you already have a good way of learning, I think you can teach yourself almost anything these days within reason.
No, that's a fantastic response to that. I feel like a lot of like how important is it for a musician nowadays to be self-driven and independent?
I think now more than ever, really. I think it's really important as an independent artist to prove that with all the work and dedication, you can provide for yourself, and you don't need to rely on record companies or people who basically rob you blind and say thank you very much. I think flow of independent artists at the moment is amazing, and I'm really happy to be part of that.
No, absolutely, because you've got another track coming out soon, haven't you, titled Paranoid or something along the lines?
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to this release. I worked with a producer called Blunt Christ on this one, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. And the problem I found with my music career is that because I'm not one of those people who say, oh, I love all types of music, and then, they don't actually like all types of music. It's been quite a struggle to find a sound that I really identify with. And slowly but surely, I think I nailed it about 3 or 4 years ago. And during that time, I've finessed the formula. And I think this track is what's pulled it all together, in my view, anyway. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how people react to it.
Absolutely, because like, is this style of music something you're hoping to continue and develop on with the Lళzurvy brand?
Absolutely, but at the same time, I think the genre I've landed on, which I call dark wave trap metal, is a good launching pad for me to pretty much stick within that kind of aesthetic and that vibe, but not be contained within one kind of beat style or the other genre type paradigms that you usually find with artists. So I want to keep the same vibe, have my sound, but not necessarily stick with the exact same formula for each track.
No, that's fantastic. Because like in this day and age, it could be tricky to like do an album or something like that, just because of the cost and everything involved. But like, do you see yourself putting out more singles in future, or would you like to do an EP or something like that?
Well, I've tried doing EPs before, and I've realized that until you have established yourself in a reasonable way where people recognize you enough to care about 4 or 5 songs, it's easier to put out a single, because you can focus all your energy into this one song, the promotion of the one song, and I think it's an easier marketing choice these days. But I really like the concept of doing an album or an EP, but I feel the stage I'm at, it's probably better that I bang out the singles.
Yeah, because like, what else would you like to talk about with your music in regards to the themes and stories within them?
Well, I've always classed myself as a bit of a misfit, an outsider. I've always looked at life and thought, this is quite a strange thing that I'm a part of. So when I'm writing my songs, I always think about subjects that I'm experienced in, try and have my individual take on things. But at the same time, I also like making music. I like listening to as well. So sometimes a song can be very easy to write, and it would take 2 or 3 days to come up with, like Paranoid. Paranoid was a really easy song to write in terms of the lyrics flew out of me and the idea was just kind of already there. Other songs, it takes a bit more time and effort in terms of the structure and melodies and what have you in production. So it depends on the song and the inspiration, of course, case by case.
Yeah, because like, how do you plan out and allocate the different responsibilities between yourself and a producer, considering you've also got from what I can see, guitars and keyboard, you also have a bit of a background making your own music. How do you figure that stuff out?
Well, if I hear a beat that I like and I already feel that it speaks to me, the rest of it comes quite easy. When it's my own production start to finish, then I feel more goes into it in terms of the back end of writing the song, and it takes a lot more time to get from A to B. So I enjoy both ways of working. I really enjoy having an idea already there, which I can put my stamp on, but also making something from scratch as well. The funnest part about music is the writing and recording. The hard part is obviously the marketing and the promoting and all of that stuff. So there we go.
No, absolutely. I would say it's also the fun part, though, isn't it? Making music, even like, how does it feel when you finish one of these tracks, considering like the kind of music that you're in? Do you get a sense of catharsis from it? How does it feel?
Yeah, I definitely feel that I've put something out there and it's part of myself, and that comes with its ups and downs. Obviously, it comes with anxiety, but it also comes with, as you say, a cathartic release. It's all a mixed bag, and I think that's what music really is. It's just full of different and contradicting emotions, and it can be nothing, it can be everything. And if I have managed to speak to someone through my music and they have been inspired by it, or they feel anything by it, angry, happy, sad, whatever, I think that's my job done, really.
No, absolutely. Because like, who inspired you when you were growing up as a musician? What bands and artists inspired you in your music?
As I said, I mean, I listened to everything. I got into really when I was, early teens, 12, 13. But I've kind of gone all over the spectrum. I listened to rock and metal when I was a little kid. Then I moved to hip hop and then drum and bass. And as far as artists, I mean, Led Zeppelin really inspired me when I was young, and all of the greats like Sabbath. But then as I got older and I started listening to more electronic stuff, that obviously played a part as well. When Pendulum came out, I was really amazed by that song.
Yeah, because isn't it fantastic? I remember in the mid-2000s, there was rock and metal, and then there was obviously the new metal stuff, and then it was rap. And that didn't always come together with the electronic stuff especially, but when do you think it started to shift that you had the trap with like the kind of dark wave stuff?
It's an interesting question. I mean, that kind of blend of music, I think, has been fairly recent. I think Ghostmain really opened up the spectrum as far as trap metal goes, and Corpse, obviously, as well. I think, and Scarlord, I think those artists really have helped solidify what the genre is now. What I really like about the genre, however, is that it allows you to explore all different sonic capabilities, and that's something I really appreciate as a producer and a songwriter. You know?
Yeah, because I love the fact that you're quite experimental and progressive with the production, especially. You've got all these different sort of like sample bits and these really wide panning of different instruments in the mix and stuff like that. It kind of sounds like you're listening to a film, if that makes sense.
Well, as I say, I do film scoring as well, so I really like cinematic experiences with music. So I try and incorporate all of my musical learning into whatever I'm doing.
Do you feel that there have been other experiences in your life that have helped, like film scoring and stuff, with the music that you're making?
It all helps. So everything I've learned from other people I've worked with, all of that knowledge has helped me produce and write the songs that I'm writing at the moment. And the learning never stops. So it's a never-ending journey, which I'm really happy to be on, you know.
And I suppose in regards to the marketing of it, because you've definitely got your music sorted, how do you get your stuff out there? Like, how do you start to do that kind of thing?
Well, it's something I'm learning on the go. I think repetition is the key. No one is going to remember your song after the first hearing. So I think the more you can create good content and attach your music to it so people are able to get the hook in their head, I think the higher chance an artist has getting their music recognized, you know.
Because like music video wise, have you done like any music videos or anything like that?
Not for this project. So for Paranoid, this will be the first music video that I will be working on. The actual music video won't be completed until after release, but I will have a few AMV videos put together for the release, which I'm looking forward to as well.
Yeah, because like, how do you translate the audio side of things to a visual experience for that kind of? How do you do that?
I wish I had a better answer for you, but I think in this day and age of short attention spans, if it vibes with the music, it looks good. If it has a resonance and a similar kind of vibe, I think that does the job really. But of course, as my project develops, I want to be able to make it more coherent, have more of a narrative and story-driven video to go with the music I'm doing. But for now, if people say, oh, that's a really sick video and the song's really awesome as well, that's good enough for me, really.
That's awesome. And do you think you'll do any collaborations with other musicians in future?
Absolutely. I'm always open to collaborations, and it's the best way to learn as well from people who are more experienced than you, have been around the block, so to speak, and can teach you things that you need to learn to survive in the business. Absolutely, I'm open to all collaborations.
Because I know that you've discussed the positive experiences you've had from learning from people and stuff, and I know that you're very gracious and you show gratitude towards people you've worked with, but how do you find the right people to work with in the first place?
Sheer luck. I mean, honestly, you can work with a bunch of different people. Some experiences might be good, some might be bad, but I think getting it to come together and having a product to produce at the end, to present at the end, is always a struggle, and especially doing film music as well, because getting a film done, getting everyone to come up and show up, and it's all a bit of a brain ache. But once you have the product there, it's a really satisfying feeling.
You sound like you're going to be fine with the promotion side of things. You can get that good video sorted, you're pretty much sweet. I mean, have you done much like connecting with like fans on like social media and stuff like that? Or are you one of those people that's kind of like, I mean, I know I need to use it, but it kind of sucks?
I think this is something I'm going to work out as I go along. I want to be able to interact with my audience more. I want to have more competitions. And when I get my merch out, that's going to help as well, because I really want to build a connection with the audience who listens to my music. So this is something I'm learning as I go along, really, being honest with you. And I'm really enjoying every part of the process.
No, it's great. I mean, like, because the world is opening up. You know, like, for instance, where I am in New Zealand, we'll be opening up the borders from July. And we're like the hermit country, you know. But for you, like, are there any live gigging opportunities? Are you able to do some shows at any point soon?
That would be good, but I think for now, the live gigging stuff I'm going to put on the back burner until the opportunity presents itself. I've been in bands before, I've done lots of live shows and that, and it's a bit of an ordeal. It's very rewarding when it goes well, but I really want to focus on putting out decent content, really good music, and nail the online game, really, before I start doing shows. But I definitely do want to do shows in the future, but it's something that's kind of over here for now rather than right in front of me.
That's fine, because like I know like online you can find a lot of people to work with that are within similar sort of like genres, like within niches like that. Is there like a scene where you're located at the moment that plays similar kind of music to what you do?
Well, there's lots of people out there who do the kind of music that I'm doing that, you know, I'd love to work with, but at the moment I'm kind of focusing on my own development, and I feel like I need to have a bit more leverage before I can go out there and say, look, I'm working on this song, I'd like for you to collaborate. Not that I wouldn't be open to doing that, but for now, I feel like I need to finesse my own formula before reaching out and collaborating. But it's something I definitely want to do.
That's fine. Like, do you think you'll go at some point like the indie label route or something, considering how you feel about record labels?
Yeah, I mean, if it's good for my project, if good for my promotion, it's something I'll definitely consider. That seems quite later in the game for me at the moment. It's something that I really feel would benefit my career if I get right, but I want to know for sure it's the right decision before I commit to anything.
Definitely. I have this bad habit of going like in the short, the mid, and the long term at once. So I apologize. I know. Because you've done so much so far. Like you've got all these different considerations in place, and you're obviously a very capable musician. I suppose, like, what is the kind of impression that you'd want people to have from you after listening to your music?
It doesn't need to be too deep. If they really get into it on the deep philosophical side, that's great. But for me, a win is if they come away from the song and say, you know what, that track's a banger. That is perfect for me, to be honest. If they walk away and they say that's a really, really good song and it sticks in their head, that is as much as I can ask for as a musician.
Which is admirable, like genuinely. It's great that you're not expecting too much to the listener, especially when a lot of people are time poor and like getting any exposure for like a project, even if you're sort of semi-established, can be difficult nowadays. Like,
Completely right. The attention span these days is very short, and I think that's completely natural given how the evolution of the internet has happened, and with TikTok and Reels, and it's really good because it means we're able to absorb a lot more content in a lot quicker time. But there's obviously the flip side to it, which means that you might not pay as much attention to something that's worth paying attention to because it's not coming at you all at once. But I think if you can play that formula to your favor, it can yield great results, in my opinion.
So just theoretically, right? Let's just say you were to put something on TikTok, and I'm not like a complete boomer or something. I know what the stuff is. But let's just say you were to put like a short, what part of your song, like any of your songs, would you want to feature in that, and how would you promote it through that?
Oh, that's a good question, really. I think any kind of video that maybe almost like meme videos, or a video that shows an unlikely event like a near miss accident, or someone doing something crazy, a skating video or something like that, with just with the hook part of the song, or like a part of the song that hits hard. I think that's the way I'd go about it, of course. And you have endless amounts of influencers these days, which can always help your promotion, with shout outs and what have you. But the problem with music marketing these days is there's so much choice, and to find which one suits your music is obviously a bit of you have to approach it carefully to get it right, I think.
Do you think it was easier to succeed when you first got involved in the music industry or nowadays?
That's a good question. I mean, when I first got involved with this, I was just write music to write and record and get it out there. I didn't really think of the marketing side of it. So now I'm having to consider a lot of other variables in terms of how can I market this? how can I market this in a suitable way which matches the song? And so, I don't think for me personally there's much of a difference since I started, because I never really paid much attention to the whole marketing side of things, you know.
You know, considering the changes that have gone over the last 20 years, do you think you'd ever want to go back to doing like CDs at some point, or would you like LPs? What kind of stuff?
I think vinyl has made a huge comeback. Vinyl is more popular than CDs at the moment by a long shot. So I would love to put out, you know, an EP on vinyl, an LP on vinyl at some point if the song I was doing was suitable for it. But I think people like having something physical to own, and the vinyl just has a really distinctive sound. I think there's no getting away from that. And that's why it's made a comeback, in my opinion, because it just has such a warm, distinctive sound, no matter what genre is playing through it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting, because like you've talked about like other merch ideas. Like, what would you do though? How would you? Because some people do go all over the place with it. Are you going to keep like a small selection of merch, or like all of the merch?
The usual selection, you know, t-shirts, hoodies, and maybe a few other items, but I'm going to keep it fairly tight and to the point. I'm not going to go all out there with different merch, but I think vinyl, having a single on vinyl is a really good piece of merch, because it's distinctive. You can sign it, and the audience member has an attachment to it because they know it's kind of this distinctive thing that pretty retro, and also doesn't sound like anything else, any other medium of music, you know, like CDs or you know, MP3s or what have you. So I definitely would go with the vinyl route if I'm selling any physical copies of my music.
Oh, that's so sick, dude. Because then you get that personal touch. You can like sign some of them or something like that, and you could just have that kind of real, kind of authentic kind of experience with it.
So that's you know, where I'm up to with that anyway. But as I say, with this release, I'm really looking forward to how people are going to react to it. I've had really good feedback so far, and obviously, if I can get it into any film projects as well as, you know, one of those hype, you know, get pumped songs, and that would be ideal as well, because people really connect to music that they see with content. You know, lots of people have never heard a particular song before, but if they see it in a Netflix show or whatever, suddenly they have a immediate connection to it that they wouldn't have otherwise, because they wouldn't have been exposed to it, you know. So I think getting your music in either, you know, videos of any kind, whether it's, you know, a Netflix show or anything like that, really helps for exposure.
Definitely. I mean, like, how did you get feedback on this latest track? Like, how do you do that?
I sent it to my, you know, tight circle of friends and a few marketing people I know, just to get their honest reaction. People who I know aren't going to BS me, basically. They're going to give me the truth of it. And when I got the feedback I felt pretty good about it. I felt, right, I know I'm onto something here, and I can put the full weight of my promotion behind this and feel confident about how it's going to go. So, you know, obviously you don't know how it's totally going to go, but probability wise, I think I'm onto something with this track. So
definitely, absolutely. And so how do you, just one more question about the feedback thing, how do you decide when you're super passionate about a concept, but there's like feedback that's saying you to change it? How do you make the decision there?
So I've had that kind of feedback, and, you know, you take it in your stride. With my older stuff, with the Lłzurvy projects, I was kind of working it out, I was finessing the formula, and I was trying to put a lot of disparate styles together and see what happens. And I think the only way to grow as an artist is to experiment, trial and error. And there is no way to, you know, come out guns blazing, perfect, without any trial and error at all. I think you have to, you know, try things out and see what works for you, see how different people respond. Does it fit your target audience? And is it catchy? Does it hook people in? Get behind the message of the song? And does there need to be a message? You know, that's all the questions that come into consideration when I've been writing. And with this song, it came together pretty seamlessly. You know, I wrote the lyrics and melody pretty much in 2 and 3 days, and the recording didn't take much longer. Production was pretty much there as well. So it's one of those songs that came together, and I'm really happy how it turned out.
Absolutely. And like, when is this song coming out?
It drops on the 17th of June. Yeah, 17th of June.
So that's not... How did you pick the date, the 17th of June?
I decided that I wanted to have 6 weeks before uploading it on my platform. I use DistroKid. So I wanted 6 weeks between the time I uploaded it to the time it gets released. And, you know, Friday is International Release Day, and it just so happened to land on the 17th. You know, nothing too deep about it. It just circumstance.
Nice. So from what I can understand, you've got the song and then you're potentially also doing a music video for Paranoid. Is that correct?
Yeah, but that won't be done until after the release. But I will have an AMV video, like an anime video, to release with it, which I'm really excited about. And I think it will fit the song really well. So yeah, spend money on marketing, the promotion, music videos, photos, artwork. It's an endless list of content that requires financial support. So yeah, it would be great to have a label behind me which can provide all of that before release. But when you're doing it independently, you kind of have to tailor the formula to your own situation.
But still, that's pretty cool though. Now it sounds like you got it all sorted. Looking forward to June 17th. And where can people find that song? We're on all digital streaming platforms? All
digital platforms, Spotify, iTunes, a lot. If you follow my Instagram, the hyperfollow link will take you to all of them. And the pre-saves are available from the 25th of May. And yeah, it'll be ready to go.
That's fantastic. And it's been so good to learn more about your music today. But like, I suppose as a final question, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
If I can make a living from releasing music I love doing, and any music, you know, whether that's working on my film stuff or through Lłzurvy, that will be the goal. Obviously, who doesn't want to do what they love for a living? So where I'm ending up in 5 years, as long as it entails that is good enough for me, really.
Definitely. Well, hey, look, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today, Wolfgang. I wish you the best of luck in your musical endeavors, and have a fantastic day.
Yeah, you too, man. Nice speaking to you. Catch you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that was my interview with Lłzurvy, i Wolfgang, or Wolfgang i Lłzurvy. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This was an interview that was it was an intense experience because I was chatting to someone who knew everything that they needed to in order to get through it. He didn't have to think twice about it. He was really on the ball, and that's what you need when you're a professional musician. You can't half-ass it, you know. You've really just got to be really on point. And I'm proud of Wolfgang for how he handled it today. You know, it was great to hear more about his music and what he's doing and his direction and his previous work. And it's just, it's so cool to listen to another talented, you know, incredible musician chat about this stuff and allow us to learn a bit more about them too and to open up, you know. Because that's the way we connect. We open up to each other. We need to be able to reach out, you know. So if you enjoyed listening to Wolfgang, aka Lłzurvy, chat about his music, or if you want to go learn more about him, feel free to go check out his various social medias. And he's on all digital streaming platforms, including Instagram. And you know, again, Paranoid is out on the 17th of June. Stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next review. Spot ends up.